On a Wednesday doubleheader, it's time for the evening match. Can KKR bounce back or will CSK continue their purple patch? How's the pitch going to behave? Will Wankhede pull another surprise? With some explosive players in action, the fans would love to see a batting paradise. There is Andre Russell on one side while the other has Sam Curran. With Rana, Ali, DK and Jadeja, it is certainly going to be a lot of fun. It is the battle of two calmest captains in the cricket leadership school. Hold on your breath, it's Eoin Morgan against the Captain Cool.
Yeah, it's Eoin Morgan versus MS Dhoni, two captain cools of cricket, and we've seen that in the past. दो मैच आज डबल हेडर पहला मैच चलता हुआ Hyderabad in a good position against Punjab, and the second match will begin shortly, of course, and we'll discuss that game with another cricket expert. We have Monty Panesar, of course, and he will join us. It's been a brilliant few days, and Monty again joins us. Monty, are you watching the first match?
Yeah, I'm watching the first game, and obviously Punjab Kings haven't really done, as well as we like them to do. Again, the batting wasn't too great. The likes of Puran being run out, Chris Gale. Again, these pitches, I think, maybe just have Chris Gale opening the batting. You want him to face he's used to facing faster new balls, and especially on the slow nature of this pitch. They may just have to tinker with the top order batting. But apart from that, I think it's been a very clinical performance from Sunrisers Hyderabad. They've been really good. It's how to chase low total scores. Probably been the best team at the moment chasing these sort of totals, because we've seen some of the other teams. It's always been a bit of a cliffhanger, but they've been absolutely clinical today.
They have been clinical, and let's see if they can pull this off. And we'll again move to the next match we have slated for the day, that is Chennai versus Kolkata. And Chennai seem to be in decent form, with MS Dhoni leading them quite well for their second win. And Kolkata started well, but they just seem to lost track in the middle of the tournament now. And of course, what do you think, Monty? What are the chinks in the armor of Kolkata? Do you think they need to cover? What are the gaps? What are the lacunae in their side they need to cover? Because they do look like a good side. They do look like a decent batting lineup. But Andre Russell not getting to bat as much as he should. Dinesh Karthik not living up to his potential again. What do you think are the improvements they need in this squad at the moment?
Well, look, we've been there. I've been on cricket tours where you have a few warm-up games and they don't go as well, and you go into a test match. And you kind of start off fresh, you just have a clean slate. New venue in Mumbai now. So it's a fresh start for, Kolkata Knight Riders. And that's how they got to look at it. If they, I think even throughout this tournament, if teams start sort of analyzing the performances from previous grounds where they haven't been successful, it's a new ground, new wicket, you start fresh. And I think that's how Eoin Morgan needs to look at this. And someone like Harbhajan Singh, he knows Mumbai ground inside out. He's won various trophies there, so his input is going to be vital. And also Andre Russell, I've just got a feeling it's going to turn it around. Shorter Mumbai pitch, flat pitch, shorter boundaries. Ideal sort of ground conditions for Andre Russell.
Definitely, I think Andre Russell did seem like he was getting back to form in the last game. He did strike some lusty blows, and I hope he gets to bat more, because sending him in the 15th, 16th over when the game is almost gone and when there is no chance of actually winning the game, then he has to struggle a bit, and he has not been able to score the ideal amount of runs. We'll, of course, move to the probable playing 11 for both teams, which are the 11 players that might step onto the field for both teams, and we'll have it shortly on the screen. There we have it. First, we'll talk about Kolkata, of course. If we talk about the opening spot, Shubman Gill and Nitish Rana have been doing fairly well. Shubman Gill, Monty, in the last game, there was a big target on board, and he tried to go hell for leather at the top. Did not take his time at all, but lost his wicket. But I liked the intent. I liked the approach. And he actually portrayed that he can hit the ball out of the ground, like he did to Kyle Jamieson on a couple of occasions. What do you think? Shubman Gill, is there scope for improving his strike rate even if they are batting first? Last time around, they needed 205 runs, if I'm not wrong. So he had to go after the bowling. But for example, if they're batting first, should Shubman Gill be playing the role of just the anchor, or can his role be expanded in this team? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think with Shubman Gill, we've been, sort of been a little bit disappointed this year with him. Actually, he hasn't really, hit his straps, and maybe it's the extra attention because everyone knows who Shubman Gill is now in international circuit, world cricket. Before, some of the players that we see in the IPL afterwards, we don't really get a chance to see him throughout the whole year. So someone like Nitish Rana, I think great player, batting really well. And you can see he kind of relishes the challenge. He just goes out there and plays with such freedom. Shubman Gill feels a little bit restricted. Is he just putting a bit too much pressure on himself? He's kind of been a disappointment. But Rahul Chakrabarty's been amazing. Really enjoyed his batting. He's been absolutely fantastic, along with Dinesh Karthik, who's always going to be in the game. It could be at the back end where he needs to finish a game off, or just be there to bat really well. Been fantastic. Harbhajan Singh, again, lovely bowler. You're not gonna, get too much sort of wrong with him unless you're at the back end and he needs to get a few runs, which obviously that's not his skill. He's a fantastic bowler. So yeah, look, I think on paper, they got Lockie Ferguson back, which I kind of did say at the start of the first game. He should be the first guy on the sheet, and they got Pat Cummins together. So obviously, Mumbai pitch is going to be slightly more faster pitch. And this will be interesting to see how the pace of Pat Cummins and Lockie Ferguson, how the top order, the likes of Moeen Ali, doesn't really, he's got a great strike rate against spinners. I think it's over 200. He's got fantastic strike rate. Probably prefers it. Doesn't prefer it as quick. But Suresh Raina, again, fantastic cricketer. What a brilliant, I think the whole of Chennai has been missing him, and he's been absolutely brilliant. Ambati Rayudu, again, fantastic cricketer, and he loves it when it's quick. So he's a player who actually bowls. He's a better player when the bowling is quick. So that'll be a fantastic battle. Lockie Ferguson versus Ambati Rayudu, and then MS Dhoni, who's been taking a few cue balls to really get himself going. And he's people are saying, "Don't call me unfit. I'm still fit," which. You look very fit, MSD, so I'm not saying you're unfit, but I'm sure some of the others. Sam Curran again, and Dwayne Bravo, two fantastic, overseas players. But I think the real battle is going to be Deepak Chahar, fantastic bowler, absolutely brilliant. Him versus Rahul Chakrabarty is the domestic Indian battle everyone's looking forward to.
Monty, you've given us the battles we need to watch out for today. Definitely, I think Deepak Chahar versus Rahul Tripathi is going to be one. And if Lockie Ferguson plays, if he's in the side today, because Shakib Al Hasan didn't bat really well, he's not been bowling that well, and in the field also is not that agile. Lockie Ferguson can cover those gaps. And considering the Mumbai wicket, it offers some pace and bounce. It has some seam as well. It is a bit up and down, and the bounce is a bit variable. And Pat Cummins and Lockie Ferguson could prove to be lethal on this wicket. They have two fabulous spinners as well, Harbhajan Singh and Varun Chakravarti. Even Prasidh Krishna can be a potent weapon on this wicket. And if we talk about Chennai again, Robin Uthappa might come in. What do you think? Ruturaj Gaikwad in the first three games, his game doesn't seem to suit this T20 format much. Do you think there is scope for him in the side, or Robin Uthappa should come in straight away? What do you think?
Well, I think, Chennai pitch especially, Robin Uthappa, plays the fast bowling far more better than, some of the other players in the team. So I think that'd be a good option, and a bit of experience at the top order, would then hopefully, give MSD a bit more clarity. What is his best top six? At the moment, he's a little bit unsure, himself. So, look at this Chennai, Robin Uthappa, Suresh Raina, Ambati Rayudu, three of them Indian experienced domestic players. On paper, this is a very experienced team, but sometimes you just don't know, fresh pace, like with Lockie Ferguson and Pat Cummins, and even Andre Russell at the death overs, you got two experienced captains, Owen Morgan versus Dhoni. I'm sure all the India fans will want to say that MS Dhoni is the best T20 captain, and they'll be rooting for Chennai to win. I've got to probably say that with Lockie Ferguson coming back into the team, like I said, he should be as a sort of expert on cricket. I will have to go with the Kolkata Knight Riders.
So you've given us your prediction already, Monty, and if of course we talk about going down the batting lineup, Faf du Plessis and Moeen Ali, of course, have been really good, two overseas players. Last time around, Faf du Plessis batted really well. Suresh Raina, Ambati Raidu, MS Dhoni, Ravindra Jadeja, the Indian packed order. Then Sam Curran, Dwayne Bravo, Shardul Thakur, and Deepak Chahar. That forms the bowling lineup. Personally, Monty, one thing that could be a concern for Kolkata from their perspective, what I personally think is a concern is Owen Morgan's form. I can't remember the last time he actually contributed to a good score with a good score in the Kolkata lineup. Do you think his form is a reason for concern because he's not been batting that well? He's such a big hitter of the ball, can hit sixes at will, but he's not been able to utilize his own resources efficiently. I'd be pretty much concerned because he's not been scoring runs at all, even last year, this year as well. What do you think about his form?
Yeah, look, it's a difficult one to assess because when you're like a team of an international side and everyone's roles, it's what everyone is doing. It helps your game as well. And I think at the moment he's just unsure with the top three. Probably the weakest link in this Kolkata is the top three at the moment, which we don't know what we're going to expect from them. There's a huge expectation on Shubman Gill, which we expect him to fire, but I guess second season is always like that. Once you played international cricket, there's extra attention on you. How you deal with that expectation is a different game, and that's an issue. And that maybe we did suggest that maybe Owen Morgan should go up the order at number 3, and try and just take a bit more responsibility and help the sort of younger players out. So that's going to be, I think, the real issue, with the Kolkata Knight Riders. Is the top 3. If they fire, then I think they've got a great chance of winning this game.
Definitely, I think, and I think he should bat at number 4 at least, because number 3, Rahul Tripathi, looks set. He's also used to opening the innings, but number 3 also suits him quite well. He's showing intent while batting, and he's batting beautifully actually. He's timing the ball really well, and Owen Morgan does have the opportunity to come in at number 4, and I think he should. And if we talk about Chennai again, Monty, how fabulous has been Moeen Ali in at 3, striking the ball so well. He's been so efficient with the ball as well. Last time around, he pulled off a match-winning performance. He was actually man of the match. Do you think he's making his way as a number 3 batsman, making his case and lining up in the queue for that number 3 spot in the England international T20 team as well?
Yeah, look, no doubt. In India, that could be a great position for him, number 3, and do some bowling. But England batting is so strong. I can't really see him, push and sort of shoulder barge the likes of Jason Roy or some of the Johnny Best or even David Malan. He's very successful, but in this team, I think he works. And look, every game he's growing, and I think ideally that's what MS Dhoni would like. They would like him to make his own role, and all he needs to do is score 20, 30 runs. We're not asking a lot from his batting, more is effectively like a pinch hitter there, and then if he gets going, great, he can score more runs. But then 20, 30 runs, bowls 2 to 3 overs quite tightly, maybe pick up a wicket, done his job. It's that kind of role which really works. And if he kicks on with one or the other and he has a great day, then great. Like the other day, he picked up 3 wickets, he scored a few runs. So, there's not a lot we're expecting from him, but we're him to contribute with the bat and the ball. And I think that works really well with Chennai Super Kings, team lineup.
He seems to enjoy himself now that he's batting at number 3, and effectively he is a pinch hitter. Chennai just require a quick fire 30 from him maybe, and as you said, job done from him. Next, we'll move on to players to watch out for in this game. The 2 players from each side we are looking at to perform today. Let's have a look. First is Rao Tripathi. Of course, we've been going on and on about him, how impressive he's been, Rao Tripathi. He's timed the ball really well from ball one. He's shown intent, and I think he's been given the license from the Kolkata management to go out there at number three and just go after the bowling, because you do need one batsman in your side who just takes the bowling by the scruff of its neck. Then, of course, Ambati Raidu. One question definitely that arises in my mind and might arise in the viewer's mind as well. Batting at number five, do you think he can be utilized efficiently, batting so low down the order? Because first there is Moin Ali, who's coming now at number three. Then, of course, Suresh Raina. And then comes Ambati Raidu. And he is used to batting up the order whenever he's played for India as well. When he's played for domestic cricket, he's batted at number three mostly. Number five, do you think it's a bit too low for him?
Well, that there's the option always with that, like that's something that I think with this Chennai Super Kings team, they can, Moeen Ali can bat at five, Ambati Raidu can bat at three. They've got that flexibility. So I think that at the moment they're going with this. This is their lineup. This is how they want it to be. And Ambati Raidu's role at five is that sort of an attacking player, is a guy who comes in there. I normally like my number, well, in a T20 match, a number five to be the attacking player, but then it's a difficult position to be in, because if you lose a few wickets, you've got to then consolidate. And if you're going in and the other guy at the other end is already hitting the ball out of the ground, then how do you what's your role? And that's probably I think if you look at it, both situations, he's more of a guy who's batting for the other guy, and then once he's got himself in, he can maybe him and Sam Curran, in the last few overs at the back end, that's probably where, I can see Ambati Raidu really coming into his own. But he's in that in-between role where if the team's doing well, he may have to bat for the other guy. But if the team loses a few wickets, he's got to consolidate the innings. So he's more of a defensive approach to T20, rather than going straight in and just attacking from ball one, which he likes to do.
He does like to do that, because in the 2018 season, remember, he batted at the opening. He batted at the opening slot for Chennai, and he was their highest scorer, scoring 400 plus runs, scoring 70s, 80s, day in, day out. But now that he's moved down the order, he's not getting that much opportunities, because you have the likes of course, Faf du Plessis, and of course now currently Ruturaj Gaikwad. That's where he likes it. He likes the ball coming onto the bat. And if they are looking to take Ruturaj Gaikwad out of the 11, then preferably Ambati Raidu should move up the order, but we'll have to wait and watch for that again. Then we'll move on to Dinesh Karthik, of course. I think Dinesh Karthik is another player who's, again, I think that he's a bit confused about his game as well, because sometimes he comes in at number four, and if a wicket falls late, then he has to come out as a finisher, and he's also not been able to live up to his full potential. How do you assess Dinesh Karthik's role in this Kolkata outfit, Monty?
Look, I think Dinesh Karthik bats at his best when the KKR batting first. He's got 2-3 overs, and he knows all he needs to do is hit boundaries. That's his perfect situation for Dinesh Karthik. Now, if you ask him to chase the total down, he always, he doesn't know, when to start to accelerate, or should I just knock it around a little bit and then catch up? He's just not sure, but I think he bats best. So, to see the best of Dinesh Karthik is when KKR bat first. Whenever they bat first, he's much more comfortable setting the total rather than chasing the total, because I think it puts added pressure on him.
It does. He does seem to be under pressure whenever he comes out to bat while chasing, of course. And Dinesh Karthik, I think he needs to establish a role for himself in this team. Of course, we understand the flexibility of the order. Sometimes number four, sometimes number five, according to the team requirement, but you should have some stability as well. And I don't think Dinesh Karthik has that right now with his role in the team. Then, of course, we move on to Sam Curran. Sam Curran has been a revelation for quite some time now. And Kolkata won the toss. That's the news from the center. And we'll soon get the news what they have chosen to do, as we were talking about Sam Curran. Monty, first of all, Sam Curran, do you think he can be effective, that effective when the ball is not swinging? And does he possess that many variations to actually succeed at this level? Because he's been batting quite well. but while bowling is not proving to be that effective. Again, his bag of tricks might help, but is it enough? KKR, Kolkata won the toss. They've elected to field first, so Chennai will bat first, of course. Monty, to my question, of course, that I asked you.
Yeah, look, Sam Curran is again, he's a useful player on the sort of slower, lower surfaces, which MS Dhoni, he's a much better captain. If you ask MS Dhoni which surfaces he'll prefer, it'll probably be the spinning tracks, balls which skids on a little bit. He's a great captain of that, and that's why Sam Curran fits in his sort of team strategy. Now, the question remains is when there's a flat pitch, 200 versus 200. How does Sam Curran go? Does he really have the variation? Is he just a bit, just a bit easy, to hit out of the ground because the ball's not really sitting into the surface? So that's where I think, where he'll probably, get exposed. And that's again, the tall bowlers. We've seen it many, many times again in the IPL. You look at the RCB. Why did they, invested in Jameson? Because the whole point is that they want, the tall bowlers gets that extra bounce, which I think Sam Curran probably doesn't do. But on the sort of slow, low turning surfaces, he can get that ball to squid on. That similar delivery, you get LBWs on a tall bowler, goes over the stump. He's just a bit more attacking. But, he is that all-rounder package. This is what Dhoni loves. He just loves he loves an all-rounder, doesn't he? He loves the whole team to be all-rounders. So, so we've got Sunil Narayan has come in. So Sunil Narayan is playing, and which we predicted last time.
We did predict that. Shakib Al Hasan and Harbhajan Singh miss out. One spinner, two spinners out, and one seamer and one spinner in. That is Sunil Narayan and Kamlesh Nagarkoti. So, latest news, if you're just joining us, Kolkata have won the toss. They've put Chennai into bat first. So, they'll be fielding first. And two more big news. Shakib Al Hasan is out. Harbhajan Singh is out. Sunil Narayan and Kamlesh Nagarkoti come in for one overseas and one Indian player. Shakib Al Hasan, first of all, I think it was expected because when he was batting, he wasn't quite at his best. While bowling also, he seemed to lost that sheen that he had maybe 2-3 years ago. And I think with age that might happen. Your reflexes die down a bit, your impulses die down a bit. Are you happy with the decision of Harbhajan Singh going out and then Sunil Narayan coming in? Because Harbhajan Singh has not been utilized effectively. I think he's been bowled once in the early stages inside the power play. Then last time around, he was given the ball against AB de Villiers when he was taken to the cleaners, of course. I would have given him one, if I was in the management, one more chance from my side would have been given. But what do you think as a spinner as well?
Well, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because, there was a catch that got dropped, off his bowling. And then obviously he got hit for a few more runs. Now, if he took the catch, it would be a different story. But then I guess, there's a new pitch here. They want to go with Sunil Narayan, because he adds that mystery about it. Look, I'm a little bit surprised because it's at Mumbai. Harbhajan Singh bowls well. He knows the pitch well. So it just puts added pressure on KKR. KKR, it's a must-win game for KKR. They need to win this one. And if they don't, then the questions will be asked. They said strategically, how is Owen Morgan thinking? He's not really planning well. Like, if I was captain, I wouldn't drop Harbhajan Singh. I would have said, well, the pitch really well. You're very successful at Mumbai, so why would you want to drop, Harbhajan? But I understand with Shakib Al Hasan. But, coaches and captains have their own ideas, and you have to go with what they want. And this is the team they want. And, I guess if Kolkata, win today, then, it will make all sense, that they had a fresh start and the judgment of coaches and captains, go well. But, logically, I'm thinking, why drop Harbhajan? Because he's been successful there. And then if he doesn't do well, first game, then you maybe bring him back in. Now, if KKR, don't know how Sunil Narayan's going to, bowl and the rest of the team, if Chennai win this one, then Owen Morgan's under extreme pressure. The question they're going to be thinking, is he the right man for the job? Should we change the captaincy? People are going to be asking questions. So I guess that's IPL for you. But logically, my mind says play Harbhajan first, and then if he doesn't do well in the first game, because they got the next game in Mumbai anyway, then you make the changes. But I guess they want to have a complete different start.
Definitely, and from what you've told us, Monty, it just seems like IPL is such a pressure game, and captains are facing more pressure, I think, than the players because they don't have to make the hard decisions. Captains are the players, of course, who have to make the decisions, the tough decisions, and sometimes you will be questioned. I think always you will be questioned if something backfires. And Owen Morgan, let's see how he holds his nerve after this. And one change from Chennai is Dwayne Bravo is out of the side, and Lungi Ngidi comes in. He's been rested, it seems. So they've lost one all-round batsman, of course. Now Lungi Ngidi comes in, but Monty, you have been going on and on about this again, that they need a bowler who can hit the deck hard, who can bowl from a high arm action, and can utilize the wicket effectively. And if there is not there is isn't something in the wicket, still well. Mumbai wicket offers so much for the seamers. 55 plus wickets for seamers and just 4 wickets for spinners on this wicket. So Lungi and Gidi coming in, I think it's a strategic decision from them and it must pay off, I think. What do you think, Lungi and Gidi coming in for Dwayne Bravo? Good decision according to me.
Look, it makes sense, doesn't it? On a pitch that offers a bit more, to the fast bowlers, yeah, you will play, Lungi and Ingi, which is a much better option. And that, look at the Chennai Super Kings team there, look much more settled there. They know everyone, everyone, as a cricket fan would know each player's role, while you're looking at that team. So that looks like a really strong team there. So it's look, I guess IPL is like that. You could have the great team on paper, and the next thing you know, it may not work out, and that's what makes this league so fantastic. But then, I would have, if I won the toss, I would have batted first. Just because I think Kolkata are better at setting the target. But then you look at the Kolkata team there. It's we've got both Pat Cummins, Sunil Narayan is coming in for that, and that's the only overseas option they've gone for. And yet again, no Lockie Ferguson. If they wanted to make the change, I would have gone for Lockie Ferguson instead of Sunil Narayan. That would have been a really good sort of like for like replacement, especially on the pitches that we just talked about being fast. So this is it. Can you see? Like have KKR have got the right team, in Mumbai. Well, Chennai look like they've picked the right team. They've picked the right team for this pitch.
If it was up to me, Monty, I would have just made one change. I would have brought in Lockie Ferguson in for Shakib Al Hasan, given Harbhajan Singh one more chance, I think, as he does bowl fabulously well on the Mumbai wicket. But I think the Kolkata management knows best, Owen Morgan knows best, and they've done what suits them. So both teams, Chennai Super Kings have gone for Ruturaj Gaikwad again. Faf du Plessis is there. Moeen Ali, Suresh Raina, Ambati Raidu, Ravindra Jadeja, MS Dhoni, Sam Karan, Shardul Thakur, Lungi Ngidi, and Deepak Chahar. They look really good with just one change. Lungi Ngidi in for Dwayne Bravo. And then Kolkata, Nitish Rana, Shubman Gill, Rahul Tripathi, Owen Morgan, Dinesh Karthik, Andre Russell, Pat Cummins, Kamlesh Nagarkoti was one change in for, of course, Harbhajan Singh, Sunil Ryan in for Shakib Al Hasan, Varun Chakravarti, and Prasidh Krishna. If you're just joining us, Kolkata won the toss and they elected to field first. Two changes in the Kolkata side and one change in the Chennai side. And next, we'll move on to the best tweets. What do people have to say about today's game? Let's see who has tweeted what and if we can get some interesting insights from people. Rahul says at I am Rahul says, we are on the way to a hat-trick lose already predicted. We deserve it because of the poor strategy of Kolkata. He's coming down really heavily on Kolkata here. Poor death bowlers, even slow pitch like Chennai conceded 50-60 runs in the last 4 overs. Middle order failures. Russell, Morgan, DK continuously failing to set a big target after good opening. I think Rahul is a bit harsh. I think he might be judging a bit too early. And I think he's a die-hard Kolkata fan, and that's why he's really disappointed. Do you agree with all the points he's made? First of all, he says that Russell, Morgan, DK, they've continuously been failing to get a good target. And their death bowling, they conceded 50-60 runs in the last 4 overs in the last game as well. But I think that was just a one-off thing. the death bowling is quite strong. I think. What do you think? Do you agree with Rahul, or you'd like to counter him with something?
Yeah, look, there's parts of it that I do agree, which I would say that, some of the strategies, some of the choices that I'm making, are, it just, like today. Today's a great example. We went through the whole strategy, and we were thinking, what are KKR thinking? I don't understand. Chennai Super Kings have probably picked they're picking the team that makes sense for Mumbai, while KKR are kind of like, I think, still find they're still not sure what they want, what their strategy is, and if anything, if they want to play Sunil Narayan, then I think opening the batting, get him to open the batting. I think that'll be a far better option, and then get the lower middle order, because it's failing a little bit. Get some of the, maybe a Rahul Chakravarti or even Rana in the middle order. I think that could help put in less pressure on Russell, DK, Morgan, because Russell loves hitting boundaries. DK, if KKR were batting first, this, yeah, Russell, DK, they all, they go for it. Morgan as well. So, I don't know why they bowled first either. KKR won the toss. They should bat first. Bat first, Now, they obviously want to chase the total down because of the dew factor, possibly. That plays a huge role. But I just think KKR are a better team when they bat first.
I think they might be having dew inside their mind a lot, because we've seen a lot of dew in the last few matches. Sometimes it does come into play, sometimes it doesn't, but there is dew. That is an established fact, of course, and that might be a factor they've taken into consideration, but we don't know, because we can't get inside the head of the captain, of course. And then Gaurav Sundaram says, I expect KKR to play Narayan if he's fit. That is what has happened. Chennai don't play Narayan well. CSK don't attack much early on and leave it late. KKR generally use their spinners more in the second half and first half against Chennai. Remember that MSD is yet to score a boundary of Narayan. Do you think what Gaurav has specified there, can this be the exact specific reason for Kolkata playing Narayan?
Well, look, stats are always going to play a huge part, but MS Dhoni's
Because
not
he is a
even in.
statsman. Gaurav Sundaram, he is a statsman on ESPN, and that's why I think he is giving us stats. Continue, of course, Monty. Sorry for
Yeah,
cutting you
but
off.
but yeah, that stat I don't think makes any sense, because MSD is not in great form. And even if he doesn't hit any boundary, right, off Sanu Narayan, it doesn't really matter. Like, if MSD is batting after the 12th or the 11th over, it means that they've lost 5, 6 wickets already. And that this team, they've been batting well. So I just think that it's a great stat if MSD was in form. If he was hitting boundaries and sixes, then fine, it makes sense. Oh, we need to play Sunil Narayan because MS Dhoni is actually in such great form. So in that middle overs, Sunil Narayan can actually, put on hold, or find a way of stopping MSD hitting flurries of boundaries. But he's not hitting any boundaries. He's not in the greatest form, you know. So this is even makes even more angry. I get even more angry that what are KKR doing? They won the toss. I think they're a better team batting first. They haven't done that, and they picked probably Sunil Ryan. On that basis, I'm sure the analyst at KKR has probably said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we need to pick Sunil Narayan because MS Dhoni is hitting a lot of boundaries at the moment, and we need to stop him." But he isn't. He's not in great form at the moment. So again, it's a lot of pressure on KK. They've got to win this game, because if they don't, there's some of the decisions that they've made, and the passionate fans in Kolkata, they're not shy of letting KKR know about the strategies.
Yeah, I'd like to tell Gaurav there, it's not just Sunil Narayan. Currently, MS Dhoni is not hitting boundaries against almost anyone. So it doesn't make sense, that logic, of course. Then we move on to the fantasy guide, of course. Which players you should pick to get maximum points in the fantasy games you're playing. We had an option between Dinesh Karthik and MS Dhoni, but since Dinesh Karthik bats more up the order, then I think he's the better option. He might give you more runs. Faf du Plessis Ambati ride with the two batters from Chennai, of course. Faf was in great form last time around. He scored 33 and he was the highest scorer for Chennai. They still got 188 on board. Ambati Raidu also looked pretty good. He bats at number 5, but of course, if Chennai lose wickets early, Ambati Raidu might come in and score lots of runs for you today. Rahul Tripathi and Shubman Gill, they've been looking good. Shubman Gill looked good in the last match, but lost his wicket quite early. He'd be disappointed with his campaign so far, and he'll be raring to get that one innings under his belt that establishes him in this season. Rahul Tripathi, of course, is timing the ball really well. You have to pick him. Nitish Rana, we've not picked him. That's the gamble we've taken this time around. Sam Curran and Moeen Ali, the two all-rounders who are, of course, very important links in the Chennai lineup. Andre Russell, we've made him the vice captain as well this time around. Andre Russell looked good in the last game, was timing it well, and did strike some blows in the end, but it wasn't enough. Today we expect that he might bat up the order and get more time at the crease. Shardul Thakur, of course, a wicket taker, concedes lots of runs, but does take wickets for you, so he's a better bet for you. And I think you have to pick Lungi and Gidi instead of Dwayne Bravo, and then Varun Chakravarti, who's been picking wickets since last season. Every game he goes out, does pick at least 2 wickets. That is the team for you. Faf du Plessis will be the captain, and Andre Russell will be the vice captain of this team. And then we'll, of course, Monty, we'll move on to our next segment. That is the all-rounders we have in today's game, the best all-rounders from today's match. Moeen Ali and Andre Russell. Considering the pitch we have, considering the conditions we have, who is your pick? Where is your gut feeling going? Who's going to have the upper hand today? Moeen Ali, I think, is in slightly better form at the moment, but Andre Russell is getting into his stride also. Who do you think is going to have the upper hand today?
Well, it's I'll probably have to go for Andre Russell, just because the fact that he's been striking the ball well. He's been in great form. He's bowled some brilliant overs at the death. I think Andre Russell comes in situations where it has more of an impact to the game. Where Moeen Ali is coming in, once Chennai are in a slightly stronger position, then he brings, MSD brings him on to bowl, or batting wise. There's not a lot of pressure on him. He can just, play with at the top order, just hit a few boundaries, get to 30, 40, and then if he gets out, it's okay. He's given the team a good start. But Andre Russell comes out the back end where, effectively he's got to win the game, and completely, get the run chase down or bowling at the death. And so he's just coming in such more impactful parts of the game. I'll probably have to go with Andre Russell.
And again, as we're talking about Kolkata, Sunil Narayan is playing and is known to open the innings for Kolkata. They're batting second, of course, this time around. If Sunil Narayan opens, I think they'll get more stability in the middle order, because now you'll have Nitish Rana, who will come down, of course, and Rahul Tripathi to provide you more stability. But of course, again, it's a gamble. It's a bit of a gamble. I think Sunil Narayan opening, you lose a wicket early, then you've again got to stabilize. What do you think? Sunil Narayan at the top of the order or playing down the order again? Which option suits KKR best at the moment?
I think he has to open the batting. If they look to bowl the toss, they'll use him as a for I think it's basically Sunil Narayan. He's their most, they kind of like tailoring their team around him. So they've won the toss, they're fielding first, so the ball is nice and dry for Sunil Narayan. And on top of the order, he bats, hits a few 6s and 4s. Get 20 runs from maybe 8 balls. We're not asking a lot from him, and there you go. He will probably then able to that. We're not asking a huge amounts from these all rounders. All we're asking is just to give him a quick little start, and then the Indian batsman can come in and start, knocking it around, because he's given that impetus. And I think that's all Sunil Narayan, is there for, for in terms of batting. And then if he kicks on a bit more, then great. He scored it. He can, keep carrying on the bat. It's that, and you rather lose a wicket, get 10, 15, 20 runs from Sunil Narayan. He gets out within the power play, job done. He's got the innings up and running. And that's his job in up the order.
And as we talked about Kolkata's opening lineup, then we move on to Chennai's opening lineup. Of course, Ruturaj Gaikwad, who's been opening along with Faf du Plessis, has not been doing quite well. He's not been timing the ball that well. Last time around, in the last 2 innings, he scored 60 plus in both innings. Considering the kind of game he has, do you think he maybe can play his natural game, because he takes his time? He's not the biggest hitters of the ball. Do you think he fits into this 11, or should they just go to someone else? Because Ruturaj Gaikwad seems to be struggling a bit, to be honest.
Yeah, well, this is probably, if he doesn't perform today, I think Robin Uthapar will come up the order. So yeah, he'll probably have to perform and try and get some runs. He needs to do that. He's a great player. We know he's a good player, but Chennai Super Kings, they've got a experienced batter in Robin Uthapar. So that's probably more of a concern at the moment with this team.
And if we go back to Kolkata again, if you have the kind of man Andre Russell in your side, since the last three matches they've been sending him out in quite impossible situations. How would you handle an Andre Russell resource in your side? When do you send him? Maybe after 10 overs there is always an opportunity to send him. Before that it seems a bit too early. How would you handle him? What situation is the perfect to go if you're Andre Russell? Do you send him too early and do you give him time at the crease, or just tell him this is your time, after 16 overs go and smash it? What do you think better suits his game?
I think what suits his game is that he bats ahead of DK when they're chasing a total, and then he goes and hits. He's already there set. DK comes in, and they both just try and knock it around. That's what makes it a lot easier. So I reckon Andre Russell should be batting ahead of DK.
Okay, definitely. I think he should be getting more time at the crease. Then, of course, we move on to final thoughts. First of all, Monty, Chennai are batting first. Mumbai wicket is a good wicket. Wankhede is known to support batting more. What do you think will be a good first innings total, considering the Kolkata lineup as well, and they have strength in their side? What kind of a total will Chennai be looking at from here on?
I think Chennai probably need to get at least on this sort of surfaces 160, anything between 160 180 is a good total. They can defend that. Even 150. So I think 160 plus will be a good total for Chennai Super Kings. That is something that will keep them in the game. Anything 180 plus, I think Chennai will win this game.
Okay, let's see if that happens. And lastly, off the top of your head, Monty, your cricket intuition, what does it say? Who's going to have that man of the match trophy after the match ends?
Well, MSD.
MSD is the man today for Monty. He's not been quite firing for quite some time. He does seem to be fit at the moment, but his bat is not firing. As I said, as you grow old, your reflexes die down a bit. And he's 39 years old. I don't know 39 years old or 39 years young. What should I say? But anyway, Monty, thank you for talking to us. We will end the show here. And we'll, of course, join you again after the first innings ends. Do join us and keep watching Sports Tiger. Enjoy the first innings.